Boom.
Boom.
Boom. Well, you guys, welcome to the DM and Friends. This is our monthly DM roundtable, which I'm really excited about this conversation tonight. I am going to try to do a little different format where we're going to try to really stay engaged on the topic, but I will bring up
instead of just wandering everywhere.
Instead of just twirling like we normally do, especially when I get Dimitri on here. It's freaking bad.
Engagement with engagement.
Yeah, and we're going to engage in this conversation. But I am going to, if you guys have questions and stuff, I will flag any questions in the chat and bring them up. And if we get an opportunity to, of course, we're going to do what we do. And I'll say hi to everybody when I can here. Yeah, dude, this is the topic here tonight is player engagement, and I think I got 3 really awesome DMs with me here tonight that are going to be able to give their many years of experience with this topic, because it's really funny. I think this stuff comes up a lot, and it could be in the form of what do you do with a player that's not engaging? What do you do with a player that's engaging too much and shadowing everybody else? What do you do with that? I don't know if the topic will veer into disrupted players, but really it's a very big umbrella how I see it. You know what I mean? And I know you guys all have a lot of experience with this kind of stuff. So I'm really happy to have. Let me see if I can get it right. Nope, this right. I'm gonna have. We got XANE DANIEL over here, the one and only, and we have my buddy Matt Sherwin down here, and long time friend. Where is it at? This corner over here. Long time friend, Dimitri, the one and only Gonzo DM. Yeah. So how you guys been doing? Yeah, of course, I'm here. Yeah.
Doing good, man.
Fantastic.
Doing real good.
Yeah. What's been happening, XANE? Let's start with you, and then we'll get right into our subject.
Well, it's kind of cool because I can use this to give some advice, I guess, because Draskara for Shadow Dark did really well. We're, Dungeon Damsel Publishing, and we had probably 600 pages yet to write of this 1,550 page anthology. And so as soon as, and I'm mostly the writer, like Bunny does art and art direction, that sort of thing. So awesome. I looked at it and went, at first I was like, oh yeah, I got this. And I started working on it. And the next thing I know, I'm going, oh no, I'm never going to be able to do all this. I would have a 10-page day, like an incredible day of getting 10 pages done where I just think, yeah. And then I'd go, that was not enough, right? Like I have 500-600 pages left to go. And so I was beating myself up for having good days. And so I realized I've got to do something different. And so I did some math and calculated out how long it's going to take to do all the pages over X amount of time. And I realized, you know what? I only have to do 2 pages a day, and 2 pages a day, including weekends, which is fine. That is reasonable. That is possible. And so as soon as I set that for myself, I just felt so much better. It's very reasonable. Each week I'm getting, between 14 and 20 pages done. And I know that each week I'm making progress, and I'm posting it to the Discord channel so everybody can check up on what we're doing. And so I have that kind of, I want to make sure I have cool stuff to show off to the Discord channel each week. So it's a really nice little process. So I'm really happy with how that's going. So that's my update on Dungeon Damsel and me.
Awesome. Well, thanks for the update. And I know we chatted about a couple. Yeah, your brain is pumping right now, because I know we chatted about a couple things based on conversation that you saw. That's pretty cool.
It's been a really fun industry. I don't know if anybody knows this, but I was in the video game industry for 22 years. And so the switcheroo over to TTRPGs has been really interesting. I'm really enjoying it because I don't need a team of 100 people to make a video game like I was used to. It's only, Bunny and I and freelance artists. So it's a totally different world. And I really enjoy it because really the true creativity can come out when you're dealing with a massive team of people and you're trying to just horse collar them into the direction you want them to go. Mostly all you're doing is that, and not really creating and not really being it's just a different type of challenge, right? And so I really do appreciate the creative challenge of doing this.
Here's your first advice from John D. Retired. He says, Jane, you have a fiddle with the font size, the margins, and the line spacing of those 10, 15, 13.
I wish that worked, because it still means that means then that I would have 1,200 or 300 pages to go. It doesn't work quite that way. Thank you though for that excellent advice.
Fiddle with the font size. That's funny. Matt, how you been, man?
I'm doing good. Busy as ever.
I know you're getting ready to run. Well, you ran last night, right? Your first session with White Plume Mountain with the
I got a Wednesday.
Group.
I got a Wednesday in-person group who I normally play with, but the DM's taking a little mental break for a few weeks, so I'm running the players through White Plume Mountain, having a blast with it.
My favorite dungeon of all time is White Plume Mountain. When I was a kid, oh my gosh, I got that. I got one of the few, that was like the only module I had practically, but I ran everybody through that all the time. It's great. I'm sorry.
You're good.
No, please.
I call it my fungeon. Fun dungeon. There we go.
Fungeon.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's super cool. Yeah, that's great. You got a face-to-face group too.
I got two in-person groups. So it's really good. And then I'm playing a bunch online too.
Yeah.
I think I'm involved in 5 games weekly. So crazy.
What the hell?
Big time.
Me too.
Yeah. Dimitri, what's up?
Well, I mean, it's been like 7 days since I last saw you. So not too much since then, just getting stuff done. I did want to say, Matt, I am also a very huge fan of S2. The very first module I wrote when I was in 6th grade, I pretty much copied that design right over up to the last encounter. And this might be spoilers for some of you folks out there, but at the end, you're supposed to meet this pair of Ifrit. And if you kill them too easily, Gary says, throw 2 more at them. and I did the same thing with that because I thought it was such a great twist. But everything's been great. Just working on some of my designs at home here. Working on a live event for Call of Cthulhu. I'm going to tease that out because I want to run that at GaryCon next year, and I've got a couple of collaborators already who are used to doing sort of mystery parties, right? So it's going to be something like that, but it's going to be very specifically themed. I'm not going to reveal it just yet because I really want to cement the whole thing before I start teasing out the real details of it. But it's going to be costume optional, although all the cool kids are going to show up in 20s attire. And we're going to have a real fun blast. We're going to have mocktails. And of course, those cool kids will have flasks that will be adding the real stuff to it. But it'll be a great event. Once I get some details in the next couple of weeks, nail it down and put it in the schedule for GaryCon, I'll tell you all about it. When I'll reveal it here on the show if Angelo wants me, it will allow me.
Yeah, let's do it.
Very cool.
All right.
Let's do it. I know we were talking about some other kind of things too, so we'll get there for sure. Yeah. As far as me, I got to, the fun part about our gaming community is 2 things are and I always pronounce the name wrong. He showed me how he told me how yesterday to pronounce it right, but I'm just gonna stick with how I mispronounced it. It's Jimison. So he visited last night. We got to he came through town, and that was actually really fun. You should see my gaming room. The table's just got every single book out that I think that I own, as we were just going through everything I had here. It's one of those things where you just, oh man, you know what I mean? But so much fun. As far as And another interesting thing, we talk about face-to-face games. I have a gentleman that I have yet to meet yet, but found me through the channel, lives in town. He's got his wife, kids, and we got a couple other people. We might get a face-to-face game out here in the middle of nowhere in Montana.
All
so
right.
I'm really pumped about that.
That's awesome.
Today's video about, by the way, if any of you guys have seen it, the video that I did on with Tankar, little cross thing we did today about side initiative and individual initiative. Man, the comments in there have been crazy, and all the different ways that people do initiative. It's just mind blowing, and it's I don't think I've ever and we'll get to the engagement part, but I wanted to ask you guys, do you guys even know of anybody that runs first edition initiative as written? I think we all of us.
Okay, let's start with like, what does it mean to you, rules as written, first edition AD&D initiative? So, you know, because I trust you, Angelo, that you know what the actual answer is, because I don't think I do.
Yeah. So I mean, if you really read it from the book, it's side initiative, realistically.
Okay, it's side initiative.
And who doesn't? And with the little factors of weapon speed and you know, charging and, you know, all the you know, surprise, obviously, which doesn't change over systems and you know, that kind of stuff. But who have you guys? I mean, how many people for first edition use individual initiative? And myself included, for many years. You know what I mean? And I kind of in that video went through, like, where did that come from? Because, you know, we know Holmes did kind of a Dex, right? BX was side, OD&D was side, and then a lot, even growing up in the 80s, we switched to, and I think it's because of, there was a Dragon Magazine article that came out that talked about it, and then introduced it, I guess. And then there was also a you know, second edition really slammed on that, you know, with the D10 and Dex and, you know, weapon speed and all that stuff. So yeah, just interesting. But I just wanted to call it out. Thank you guys, everybody that commented on it, because man, it was fun to go back and forth and give everybody's kind of input on it. You know what I mean? So yeah. So that question,
don't know,
you know,
I don't know
I wanted
first
to throw it out
edition all
to you
that
guys.
well. I don't know first edition all that well now, since I haven't played it in 20 years or more. But Sean, who is Merlin Sturgandaldor in your comments here, he makes some cool videos that you guys should check out, and he goes into excruciating detail on all those rules. And I wrote in the chat, I don't know if you saw, I said, hey, don't you do this? And he says mostly he does have some tweaks, but otherwise he's pretty ironclad with the rules, I feel like, of all of us.
Yeah. And it's funny, we were emailing back and forth and talking about some stuff and you know, some future stuff maybe. And yeah, it's interesting that yeah, my whole thing is who you know, and Matt, I know, because I know you have your own system too. You've tweaked it, you know, and I know you have too, Dimitri, because I played 1 million games with you. Yeah. So anyway,
anytime I have players with 4 or more players, sided initiative. There's just too many people to do individual.
Yeah.
But if I'm running for a small group, I like to do the individual, kind of like the 2E method with the D10.
Yeah.
I was showing you earlier, but I've got my declaration cards for the players to declare what they're going to do and base it off of that.
Yeah.
Since I mostly do Shadow Dark, I'm sorry I'm talking over you, but since I mostly do Shadow Dark, it's pretty straightforward. It's just everybody rolls, whoever got it first, we start with them and we go around the table. So, you know, of course it's the rules light approach, which is the approach I appreciate the most. So, you know, the initiative for us is like, okay, we're going. Let's go.
Yeah. I mean, simple is great. And it's funny, in the DMG, Gary even calls it out and he says, the reason why I chose side is because of complex big groups. You don't want to get individual. And that was, you know, think about I always think about 4E, and when you'd have a table and you go through the chart and you have a initiative tracker and you boop, 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 boop. You know, it works for smaller groups, but bigger, if you have, you know, my example is, you know, 37 hill giants against the party, you know, what are you going to do? You know, Yeah.
So, like,
anyways,
the way I've run it in the past is basically just scale it to the encounter size, and in a lot of encounters or a lot of parties that I've had, people want to feel special, right? They're like, oh, this dex bonus that I've got should mean something, right? And so it's like, yeah, I know that it's the highest. Whoever has the highest dex bonus is supposed to be applied to the party roll, but it sort of just makes that person feel like, everybody wants their own special spotlight in the sun. So I try to make people happy for those particular details, because the adventure is going to be tough enough as it is. There's going to be enough challenge baked into the adventure that I want people to feel like they're powerful. I want them to feel like they have a capability to do things, and I don't want them backfooted. So I want them feeling powerful. So it's like, when I have I think about, like, the sweet spot is a six party, a party of 6 or less. I can go ahead and do individual initiative. Now, even when I do that, I do monster side. So I just roll 1d for the monsters, and then everybody gets to go on their initiative roll, and then my monsters go on my roll. And I go, listen, this is what's gonna happen. Sometimes the monsters are just gonna team up on somebody. They see somebody who's out of initiative phase, they're gonna get that person first because they realize that person, is about to go.
Yeah.
So they're gonna pile on you. Now you just know that.
Yeah. 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 Good stuff. Yeah. But anyways, I just wanted to thank you guys out there in the chat. If you commented on that video, sharing with me the way I probably learned 50 different ways today of how people do initiative, which is super awesome. I love that about our game. Like, you know what I mean? I love that about it's really bottom line. There's no right or wrong way of doing it. You could be that crazy nut standing on a table saying, no, you're doing it all wrong, and sometimes I act that way, but it's really what works for you as a DM in your group. And somebody in the chat earlier said this amazing comment: as a DM, you got to know your audience. And I think that's a great segue into us talking about in player engagement. And and you guys, everybody in the chat, thanks for joining. And if I don't call you out, I'm sorry, but the chat's not rolling on the side here. But I will say that I feel like engagement it's an umbrella that we could talk for days about. And I took a little bit of notes, and I know a couple of you guys did here. And how do we want to start? I think one thing that kind of intrigues me is just your guys' experiences. So I'd like to just go around the room and what it even means to you about player engagement. You know what I mean? Starting with you in the top corner, Mr. XANE Daniel.
That's me. All right.
Yeah.
Well, okay. So, I was in that video game stint for a little while there. So I was kind of out of TTRPGs. So I was TTRPGs as a kid and all the way through college, and then went to video games, and nobody in the video game industry actually played any, at least the ones that I was with, which was weird. Yeah, I know. So isn't that strange? The whole time, nobody ever even talked about it, right? It never even came up. So then when I left that industry, then I got back into it again. So my experience is my hearkening to my very young childhood, and then my recent experience, which has now been another 6 years or something since then. So anyway, for me, it is all about entertainment. So if everybody's entertained and they are participating in the entertainment, then I'm successful. So my goal is to, we could make this a war game where we sit around and we roll dice and we go, now it's your turn, and now you do the thing, and then we roll the dice, and then we do the next thing. And that's great, but I'm much more into the role-playing aspects. I'm much more, I want to hear people use a voice, even if it makes them uncomfortable. I want to hear them do things that they normally wouldn't do strategically, but because their character wants to do it or would do it. Right.
Yeah.
That's what and so I really push for that. And so when I start off, I always say to everyone, hey, you're here to entertain me just as much as I'm here to entertain you.
Yeah.
And so I will give you luck tokens as it works in Shadow Dark. If you use a character voice, if you do some sort of, it doesn't have to be a character voice, but it has to be something that is specific to your character. And every time you do that, even if it isn't the most strategic move, I will probably give you another luck token. So I get them to really look at it that way. And what I experience is an awful lot of laughter, an awful lot of, absolute enjoyment over, oh my gosh, I can't believe you did that. But that's exactly what your character would do.
Yeah.
Oh, it's perfect, uproarious excitement. So that to me is player engagement at its peak. And so when I go to conventions, that's what I kind of say. That's my preamble before I run a game. And so everybody knows where they're at. And it's funny because a lot of times you'll see 2 or 3 people that are like, oh no, I have to do a voice. I don't want to do that. But the next thing you know, as soon as one person does it, they're all doing it and they're all laughing. And even if somebody's kind of crappy at it at first, everyone's laughing, encouraging them and, and then next thing you know, they actually get kind of good at it. So wonderful stories like that. And I'll have some more as we continue, but that's it to me.
Good stuff.
Yeah, that's great. Matt, what about you?
Well, I think the most important part of player engagement is DM engagement. I've played in games where the DM is just there, blah, just humdrum throughout the story. DM needs to make strong encounters, use great descriptions, and develop hooks for their players that they care about. If the DM can do that and have the players care, they'll stay engaged. So I really think the DM starts the whole process of engagement.
Yeah, sets the tone, I think. Yeah. When you DM, do you stand? Let's say at a con.
90% of the time I'm standing up.
Yeah. Have you ever stood on a table?
No, I'm a big guy. Table might not make it.
Yeah.
But
it's
I
funny,
walk
all the
around.
pictures. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I'll walk around a table and
Yeah,
but no, not on the table.
I love it.
I can see you getting on a table though.
Yeah, it's funny. Every picture in AidCon and I just talk about that really quick because that was the last con that was at, and I just recently saw some pictures. I'm like literally standing there with one leg almost on the table, just doing this. And, you know what I mean? It's like, what's this dude doing? But I love it, man. Dimitri, we've had some crazy games. What about you, dude?
Well, I'm sort of famous for not only standing on chairs, but flipping them over too. Like, and then wham, and I just throw the damn chair down. And I'll put a photo up later of a room that I flipped all the chairs on. But to back up everybody's points here, this is exactly the thing. I mean, it starts with the GM. You've got to make the first move. You're the one who has to open yourself up and make yourself vulnerable and show everybody that, hey, if we're going to have fun here, we're going to have to take some risks.
Yeah.
And to show you how it goes, how to cue you guys on how this is done, I'll be the first one at this table to take a giant risk, and make a fool of myself. Yeah. I'll either get up and sing, dance, disrobe, or a combination of all those.
He's done it.
And do funny voices. But you've got to loosen them up by showing them that you don't give a damn. So it's like I just made a huge fool of myself. I look like an absolute turkey out here. So you're not going to do any worse than I just did. So just go out there and take a risk. Jump in with both feet. obviously what Matt said is correct. You've got to lead with good material as well. You got to follow up with the good material. And that's where that's one of the points that I wanted to make tonight was that in one of the articles that I was reading about in Dragon Magazine that Gary had put out, Gary said that it was an article about some people complaining that D&D wasn't Tolkien enough, and it's like Gary's like, this is not supposed to be like Tolkien. It's supposed to be its own thing. It is loosely influenced by Tolkien, but then there are other influences that are way more dominant, like Robert E. Howard, Robert Aspirin, guys like Fritz Lieber, Lankmar. Thank you. Those guys are heavily redolent in the game, and if you have a table full of people who already understand that, they're doing half the work. They're doing more than half the work for you. You just throw out the tidbits and they pick it up. They're just devouring it.
Yeah.
If you the place where you have a challenge is when you have a bunch of beginners who are beginners to sci-fi and fantasy. Like, I don't know, maybe it's the engineering club or something, right? I don't.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that's a bad example because a lot of engineering guys read stuff like Heinlein and stuff like that, so they're really into that. But who knows? Maybe it's this odd crowd. They've been very sheltered. With those people, you just have to go back to very familiar mythos and fairy tales to bring them into the fantasy world, and then you can teach them about Balrogs and Fafford and the Grey Mouser.
Yeah.
That's advanced thinking, for a person who doesn't have any idea of how fantasy works.
Yeah, that's great stuff. As far as for me, let me just bring this up. Graybeard, thanks for becoming a member, dude. That's super awesome. Appreciate you and welcome, dude. That's amazing. Thank you, dude. I mean, you guys all said great points, and I do. I would double click on the fact that I think that for me, the DM's tones going into the game can be infectious. You know what I mean? If you come in, with energy, you know what I mean, that people are going to feed off of that. You come in very sterile, dude, you're going to have sterile, just kind of sitting there. Yeah. It's really the group, like, the group, like you might have one person that's really into it and, but if the DM sets the tone, I think you have a better chance of bringing people out of their shell. If there's a shell, you know what I mean?
There's always a shell.
Yeah. And I kind of, I live life this way. It's like, dude, what are we here for if you're not going to freaking go nuts? You know what I mean? Like, so, so I like to kind of, as a DM, go into the game, setting the tone, and having energy, you know what I mean? Drinking a Monster, getting in there and freaking just tearing stuff up, you know what I mean? But, I think all the things you said were just super, really good.
I have to comment on what Dimitri was talking about. This very unusual circumstance where you have people that aren't familiar with fantasy. I think that I would actually love that group. Like please,
virgins.
Please bring me that group, because I think all I would do is just go, okay, it is medieval, and that's it. That's all it's just medieval, and start everything off as base medieval, like no magic, no dragons, no nothing. It's just, like Middle Ages stuff. And then you introduce one tiny little element and continue to build and build and build. And then they go, what the heck world is this? Right. That would be amazing. Sign me up for that.
Yeah. Jameson, thanks so much, dude, for gifting 5 memberships. Appreciate you, buddy. Awesome. I've had experiences where, I mean, if you said the word virgin for D&D, I've had experiences where, years ago, I don't know, this is probably 15 years ago, Dimitri, I got hired by an acting troupe to run a game for them. And, it was, and so, I set up this awesome scenario, one shot, boom, like, and I even started, it was crazy. And I didn't have to do this, but everybody rolled their characters right there. Took 15 minutes, boom, we all did it. Everybody kind of got in it. But the game was, I came in with so much, okay, I'm not going to say that was, it was an acting troupe, dude. So, anyways, it was a very energetic, and I had people in the corners, like when they were, it's frightened and, it was nuts. It was absolutely nuts. It was one of the best games ever. And I had probably more fun than, 90%. I don't know. Oh, thank you so much. Oh, and water. Thank you so much. Cheers, everyone.
I think that's an important point that you just made right there. If you, as the DM, are having fun, the player have a so much greater chance of having a good time.
Yeah, yeah. And I take it that like that's it. The mentality that I go into the game is I'm going to be entertained just as much, hopefully as just as much as they are. You know what I mean? By the decisions. And if I put out a decision here, I can't wait to see what they come up with. You know what I mean?
Well,
and
Angelo,
I feel like, I don't take the me against you approach. We're going through this.
Angelo,
we're actually going through this scenario. We're going through this hook or this situation or this problem or this puzzle or this adventure. You know what I mean? I really try to double click on that. Yeah.
By saying that it was a theater group that you were DMing for. And I just want to say this out. I'm going to get this out there right now. I majored in performing arts in college. Yeah. And everything's funner with theater kids.
Well, these are theater adults. And
I'm just saying is that theater kids is a word that's being bantered around these days, and they're trying to slag us off. And it's like you don't realize, I've been involved in theater since I was 4 years old. Yeah. So it predates my D&D days, and it definitely is inside of the D&D that I run, and all the role playing games that I run. It's something that taught me how to get people to be entertained, because people they need to be prepared to be entertained, right? There's a ritual that you bring people in to entertainment, and knowing that is what divides people up into successful and not successful. You need to know how to prep these people for the thing you're about to give them, and that's what that fella who sent that message in saying, know who you're designing for, know your audience.
Yeah. This particular game I was talking about, it was a whodunit kind of thing, like where what happened,
right.
And they really, I love it when players you're normally like this and they lean into it and everybody's over the table and everybody's leaning into the situation. And it was so, and I've had hundreds of games like that afterwards, but I just used this example because they were all D&D versions, and then they freaking got in the dungeon, they split the party, and the freaking measle, it was a measle out of Fiend, I think it's Fiend Folio. Measle literally just picked them off one by one, and I'd take them in by themselves and role play it out, and it's like come back crying or screaming or it was so much fun. But
on top of that, one thing that I love with my games and my players, we have a Facebook Messenger group that we keep contact with, and I love it when my players all start talking throughout the week about the game, what they're gonna do, and their strategies. I love it. Oh
my God, I love it.
It's not game time, yet it's still game time.
Yeah. It's funny. I did a video really early on in the channels, kind of, if you want to call it youth, where I talked about the best is when I'm a big lover and believer in ending your session with a bang, you know what I mean? And not a bang of kind of like a reveal or if you have a campaign, right? A reveal or a kind of a moment where, not keeping them on, I don't really know how to explain it, but that is the best thing when you see your players are freaking texting you literally oh my God,
a twist,
that
right?
is so
a plot twist.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. A reveal, dun dun dun, continue next week or something like that. And that's really easy to do when you have a long-term campaign, I mean, obviously we're not talking about one shots or campaigns. Maybe we are. I don't know. But
yeah, both.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways, yeah, good stuff. Yeah, that's like the best. That's the best thing when you just have that banter that just happens over and over.
I mean, that would be the definition of player engagement. If they're still playing the game outside of the game, right?
Oh my God,
there's your player engagement.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Metagaming.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, just like, oh, you should have done this, or oh man, I can't believe that happened, or
and you know
or,
that's
oh
a really
what's gonna happen next week? I'm so scared I'm gonna
phenomenon
die.
too. I mean, think about it. You know, like back when when I was playing in 5th grade, it was 1980, and we didn't have an internet. I could call my friends, but my mom wouldn't allow me to call outside after 8. It was only until junior high that I started actually calling my buddies. When we were in junior high, we were doing Marvel superheroes, and so we would leave off from the game we had at lunch, and then I'd call everybody up, party line, and I'd get them all together again, and then we'd be like, okay, so everyone's done their homework, so no one's going to get their mom coming in saying you need to do your homework. I was like, yeah, we did our homework. All right, let's go. So let's pick up now. The Green Goblin just did this, and they're all like, yeah, and we'd play up until about 10 o'clock. We get another 2 hours in before we went to school the next day.
Oh my God!
And that was so badass. I remember wanting to go to school just so that I could pick up that adventure with those guys.
Yeah.
And I think they had the same kind of thing happening when they were coming on the bus to school. They're like, okay, my guy's going to do this, and he's going to do that. And, it's like, that was like that excitement.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. I grew up in a really, really small town, and all the kids lived like within 3 streets of each other. So we would play after school, and then we'd get on the bus the next morning and we talk about the game the entire day. Go out through the school day, get off the bus, we start playing again. The weekend hits, we're spending the night at one of the guys' house, and we'd play all night long. It was like constant, nonstop playing.
Yeah, that is literally what happens when I grab my DMG. I give it a nice little whiff. And I just take me right back to that, man. That getting on the bus, waiting till science class during lunch, and you know what I mean? We're all gonna play. I love it, dude.
Another way you could define player engagement too is when they tell stories about what happened in the game to people who aren't in the game. Right. When they go, oh yeah, I played the game and listen to this, let me give you the setup. And then you explain everything. And then this crazy thing happened and all that stuff. Sometimes you're like, but if you do a good job of spinning your tale, then they're engaged just as much. And once again, talk about player engagement. And that's your ultimate goal. I mean, anytime you could do something like that, where they remember it and they tell stories about it and so forth, that means that they were really absolutely into it. It was more than just a game at that point. It was actually life, or the greatest movie that they'd ever seen, or something like that. If you can get up to that level of appreciation, then you've succeeded.
Yeah, I've got a guy who just joined my Sunday group couple months ago. He's been playing D&D, more modern versions, and he wanted to join us. We play 1A, and he came up to me after one of our sessions. He goes, I've been playing Dungeons and Dragons for like 15 years. I've never fought a dragon before. That was the awesomest thing I've ever done in my entire life. And like just about every session, he brings it up. Oh, that time we fought the dragon.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're hooked. You're done. I got you.
So cool, man.
So I want to just say, okay, so Zane said he was in the video game business, and I was also in the video game business for about 20, 25 years. I actually worked on World of Warcraft, and I think that WoW is extremely responsible for making the dragon fight very novel, because you do that Onyxia fight, and it's basically just a pump and dump. You're just like, it's a loot pinata, you're just hitting it, and it just absolutely takes any sort of mystique out of it. And then we did Alexstrasza, which was another that fight was actually pretty awesome because it was. But then again, these fights are extremely scripted, right? And the fight with the dragon should be completely unpredictable because a dragon has all sorts of powers, especially a really powerful one. And a dragon who's got a horde worth fighting for is going to really use everything in his craft. And part of it is going to be the lead up to the fight. You know, they're going to probably negotiate. They're going to size up the party. So part of that player engagement that you get with the dragon fight is selling the dragon fight. Like, hey, maybe you guys don't want to do this. Maybe you're not ready for this. You know, maybe you should grind a few more places out before you come and take on this dragon, because the rumors are this dragon is pretty badass. And then when you finally meet the dragon talks to the party and says, well, what can I do for you? You know, and he talks from a position of power. And it's this political struggle that they have in the beginning, and they really sort of measure each other out, and maybe the party come around to not wanting to fight the dragon, and they can come to an agreement where, hey, if you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours, and maybe the party will figure out that, well, if we work with the dragon long enough, maybe we can still get him. we cross him and stab him in the back. But that's the deal: is that it should never be just you walk into a cave and then the music starts and you just start hacking. That should not happen.
Well, there's got to be a reason for that dragon being there. There's got to be a reason that we're here. There's got to be a smell in the room. There's got to be a, do you know what I mean? All the stuff, all the tension, that's what makes it, you know, Dreg just said, talking about random encounters being, what about immersion encounters? Well, I mean, that's my definition of them is adding those environmental descriptions and having a reason. Just walking into a room, kicking the door, killing the monster, taking the treasure, and going to the next one. I mean, how boring
the RP between the party and the dragon should be the real. Like,
exactly.
Do we want to mess with this thing? You know, this is your last chance to get to get to the door. You know.
And the dragon's not just going to sit there and wait for people to come to it. The dragon's going to have a trapped hallway. It's going to have minions. It's going to have magical traps in front of it. You know, you know what I mean? There's a lot going on before you get to a dragon. At least in my book. I mean, I would hope. Man, good stuff, guys. You know, I wanted to get into like some tools that we use, and I know we have lists of things people brainstorm stuff. I brainstormed a couple things, and this is what like one thing that I do. You know, you come in with the energy. We already kind of described that. We already described the tone of the DM. We already described being prepared. You know, I'm a light prep DM, so I don't know. That's probably might be anti with some of you guys, but you know, it is what it is. But I will say that one thing I do when I sit in front of, you know, the table for a campaign is I ask for a random person, or I might say, hey, for 50 XP, tell me what happened last session. Started out like that. Started out with a conversation. You know what I mean? Like that's one way. Another way too is if the group comes into a town, and I've talked about this before, they come into a town, they come into a tavern. Who do you guys know here? You know what I mean? Let them get involved in the storytelling. You know what I mean? It's not just my story. It's our story. That. You know what I mean? Like, you know, who do you know? You know, Terrior the cleric. Who do you know in this town? You know, by the way, there is a Temple of St. Cuthbert here. Who do you know? And he'll fill in the blanks. You know, that's Chris's old character that I killed. I
remember Chris.
Yeah,
I remember Chris.
But anyways, you know what I mean? Like those are ways I think to engage. I don't know. Do you guys kind of do stuff like that too, or what do you think? Because I don't think it's our job to totally provide the story 100%. I like a collaborative story. I know that's just my style. I don't know.
Right.
What do y'all think about that?
Yeah, I do that quite frequently, especially in oddly enough, Call of Cthulhu. And the reason why
that's a great setting too.
Is because I want people to feel like they have some control over the environment. So yeah, I go, like, hey, I ask them, listen, I've given you your background. Now come up with something that you have on your possession that you have in your possession that is personal to you. It can be valuable. I don't care if it's, like a gemstone or something like that. But just it's got to have personal value to you. Tell me what you're carrying around that has a real, like, you would hate to give it up. And they're like, oh, I have a locket with my love's hair in it, or someone has a picture of their grandmother or something like that, or somebody has a towel, or whatever it is, they have a talisman. And then at some point in the game, I'll be like, someone saying, hey, we're playing a game here. What do you have to wager? And the guy reaches for his money, and the guy says, I don't take money. I only take what you love. And so then they have to pull that thing out and go, well, what about this? And the person looks at it and goes, oh, I feel a lot of power in this. Yes. Yes, that is worthy of a wager. So that kind of stuff. Yeah, I put that in there all the time because I want the players to invent something that they have investment in, and then they're going to at some point risk it.
Yeah, that's good. That's awesome. Yeah.
I'll take the contrary approach then, just because it's interesting to me. So I don't do as much of that. And I think it goes back to when I was a kid and I played in somebody else's game where I knew nothing. And to me, the entire world was to be explored. And I had no idea what was around the next corner. Any individual that I ran into, I didn't know if they were friend or foe. And so that kind of fearful wonderment about the world engaged me. Right. So it's interesting because I'm starting to do some of the things that you guys are talking about, but for the most part, I haven't. And I've always had it that there's this giant oppressive world and you know nothing about it. Yeah. Good luck. And I like that approach as well.
Yeah. I think that's
hard-boiled.
Yeah. I think that's great. I think there has to be in any of the games that I do, there's got to be an element of unknown. I mean, God, especially he was talking about Cthulhu. I mean, that's funny. You're like, oh, I want to give him a little bit in a world of, die anyway.
Everything's against you. Everything's against you. I want them to have a little bit of control in it. I want them to
that was what I was going to say. A little bit of control in a world where you don't have any control. Cthulhu. But dude, I like that. Because there's got to be, like, think of, it's really the tone of your game too. If you have a dark game, a kind of a unknown factor, you know what I mean? I get it. I mean, I love it. To just kind of back up a little bit of what I was saying as far as the story side is, I think to get players engaged, if we're talking about engagement, I find that tool of, who do you know? It might not be a totally unfamiliar town to them, but that makes the player sometimes lean in a little bit, So other tools that you guys use. I'd love to hear what your kind of takes on. Those are two, and I got a couple more that but yeah, other kind of little points, talking points that you have, related or not related.
Yeah, I'm really big on creating scenarios and letting the players decide what happens within those scenarios. I might have like 6 or 7 ideas of what could happen, which seldom ever works out. But I'm not a big open sandbox DM because that's just so unruly. I like to have a little bit of control because I am the DM, but create these scenarios and let them have loose with it. And there's always consequences. They could be good, they could be bad, but it's up to them to determine what the ending outcome might be.
Yeah, that's good, dude. Yeah.
Well, yeah,
Great
you
comments
want,
in here,
and that's
guys.
where those stories come from, right?
Mhm.
Because if they've influenced the whole world. Hey, the queen didn't want this to happen, and we made it happen anyway. Ha ha! And we changed the whole world, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
And so now you've really got something to talk about because.
Yeah.
It wasn't that the world was so big and so oppressive that you could do
Mhm.
nothing, but you actually made a massive effect. Now,
Mhm.
okay, now the player agency, they feel powerful,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
they go, okay, what are we going to do with that power? And now there's another discussion. So, well, should we maybe we could find someone to take over the kingdom now after we killed the queen? Who's it going to be? And then, any number of things can happen. And that's what I actually love
Mhm.
about the whole sandbox kind of thing, because
Yeah.
anything could go,
Right.
anything can happen at that point. Now your creativity, instead of there's two major types of creativity. I was just talking to my mom about this actually today, because she's super like curious about this stuff, like asking me millions of questions because she doesn't totally understand it. But I'm like, there's two major types of, and there's probably tons more, but off the top of my head, this is what I said. There's the preparatory creativity, where you've got time and you go, okay, I could do this idea, I could do that. Oh, that maybe I could do this. Hours could go by, and you're still kind of pondering it. But then there's the on the spot creativity, because player X did something you were not expecting at
Oh,
all.
yeah.
And now
Oh,
all of
yeah.
a sudden you got to go, what am I going to do with this? Maybe how would this person react to that? Where can we go from here? And so those two things, I do like to have as much prepped as possible, so that I'm more confident in the environment, in the situation, in the NPCs, so that when they
Mhm.
do something crazy, I can go, oh, I know exactly what this NPC would do.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Because of their actions. But
Yeah, it's
anyway.
funny. I always talk about, Zane, that I'm a light prep DM. That's one of the things I prep the most on is NPCs. What their motivations are.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Factions, and what their motivations are, because that's you can prep and have everything all laid out, and your players are never gonna go down unless you have a very specific railroad set up for them. That, you know what I mean. I've never. I can't even think of where they have not went right when I thought they'd go the other way. You know what I mean? So for me, it's prepping the factions that are involved. It's the knowing what the NPCs' names are, what their quirks are, what their motivations are. Man, then I have a leg up. Then I can be like, oh,
Yeah.
okay, Elmo's gonna react this way from him saying, here's a basket of potatoes. You know what I mean? Like that. Yeah, he's a hungry dude. That kind of weird stuff. But
Absolutely.
yeah. Yeah, you got to be able to improv a lot of that. You brought up that. I mean, it's what do I do? Oh my God!
So my thing is basically I run con games because Angelo knows what happened at the last home game I ran 20 something years ago, and I'm sick of designing stuff for people who are pussies and don't want to face consequences. This is leading into the point that I want to make, which is basically at your session 0, be transparent about the theme of the game. At your session 0, just be frank about it. And I didn't do this with those little piss ants. I should have said, we're doing HOMMLET, but it's not going to be HOMMLET the way Gary wanted it to be.
Yeah.
This is HOMMLET with Cthulhu enhanced. This is going to be a mystery. There is going to be investigative procedure stuff that you're going to have to do. There's going to be less hack and slash. There is going to be less I'm going to walk around as a macho guy and punch stuff. And there's going to be more engaging your brain. And by doing so, I will give you experience for that. I did tell them that. I said the further that you get inside the intrigue, the more experience you're going to get. So it's going to be experience out of combat, which is great. I want you to enrich yourself in that whole thing, because HOMMLET is such a investigator's dungeon. It's such an investigator's module. But you have to be upfront with them in session 0. Tell them, listen, if you're not down with this, I've got a dungeon crawl for you guys. You just want to, open a door and beat stuff up and take money from them. That's what you want to do. You want to play Daryl Gates style D&D? I can do that. I lived through that, for Christ's sake, in East LA. All right, I know what that's like. I can give you that. You want a wilderness adventure hex crawl? I can do that too. So but this is what I choose as the DM. I want to run this module because it's been my dream. And if you guys want to come along with me, that's great. If not, we'll do a couple sessions before I get bored and quit of just you going around beating stuff up. And maybe one of you guys will wake up, and then that person can come on to the next thing that I run, which is going to be something way more high concept than Murder Hobos. Because I quit Murder Hobo back in 7th grade. It was just there were too many systems. There was Champions, there was Traveler, Top Secret, there was Star Frontiers.
Luckily, there's like no systems now. There's only a couple.
Well, that's the great part about it is that it's your session 0. You can even talk about, hey, we don't even have to do this in D&D. Wow.
Right.
Savvy that, man. Blows your freaking mind, right?
Yeah.
Hey, Angelo, could you see Dreg347's comment? If a player guesses, I want to comment on that.
Oh yeah. I was literally reading that, and I had in my mind I was answering it. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, me too. I love this. Okay, well that means that you've designed the wrong game, because ultimately you don't have a plot. The players are carrying
exactly
the plot.
what I thought in my mind too. Go ahead.
Yeah. If you have a plot, then you're railroading, and maybe your players love railroading, and you do too, and that's cool. But for me, I want it to be that there are all these factions in play. There's all these possibilities in play, and based on your decision, then all of a sudden you tip the scale, you tip the you change the whole world, and so there's no plot. The plot is generated by the players.
Generated, yeah.
And so that's when they tell the stories too. Because I don't know if this is true or not. I'm guessing. Do people say, "Oh, let me tell you this story about the Strahd game that I played"? I don't think they do. Maybe they do, but it doesn't seem like it, because that's a railroaded story, right? Like you're supposed to do this in this order, and these sorts of things happen, and all that. Okay, maybe people tell stories about that, but more people tell stories about, we killed the queen, and then we had to find a new ruler for this, and we didn't know who to pick, and so we ended up picking the demon who's masquerading as a blah blah, right? Like, and all kinds of crazy ass shit happened. So that's where we're talking. You cannot, it's impossible to ruin the plot, because there isn't one you're generating,
unless you have one. Which I don't. Yeah, what I do a lot of, and I like that you said that they create the plot, and I'm a firm, and I don't want to get into the whole backstory thing, because I feel a backstory is created too, but for a plot, what I like to do as a DM, I have things laid out that week 1 might happen. There might be something that happens over here, or things over here, but can be altered by what the players do. You know what I mean? So having, like, if that's a sense of a plot, I don't know, but like things that might happen in the environment, at this city during this time, you know what I mean? Or if you're playing a large geography, like, this kingdom gets, goes to war with it, those kind of things. But I like that answer. That's a great response. And
I mean, okay,
right
so
along
to
the
be
line
the counter,
what I was thinking.
So to be the counter of that counterpoint, I run primarily con games, and I don't want long-term investors anymore.
Oh, that's a totally different story. You're right. I agree with you.
I do not want long-term investors anymore. I am not in that. I'm not in that market. I mean, if you want to be in my house game, I'm taking interviews on that. I want to be like, will you be here on these days? Are you going to flake? Are you going to get mad if you flake and I fucking kill your character straight out? Are you going to be mad about the list of, I have a gigantic questionnaire on, who's going to be in my next house game if it ever happens again.
Wow.
But I'll tell you,
I have had so much luck. I've had so much luck compared to what it sounds like you've had.
At cons, I got it nailed down. I got the 4-hour format.
Yeah, it's
down.
I have different
5
style of
plot
play.
points, and I run it down, and I have an intermission. I leave them on a cliffhanger, and I do it beat by beat, and I just go, look, guys, do your thing, have fun, but stuff is going to happen that you're going to have to react to in hour and 10 increments, and it accelerates as we go forward.
My con games tend to be totally different. How I play, the tone, the pace, than a campaign game. Like that's a whole show, and we should talk. Right. And the other kind of idea just got is, wow, the whole show is session 0. Like, because that's that's a big thing. Because
I do so at a con game, I do a mini session 0. And I just pull everybody aside and give them. It's like I'm like a quarterback. I'm like, okay, you go out, then you're going to go out. You're going to play the fade to the corner there, and I'm going to pump fake, and then I'm going to throw it to you. Okay, and I try to quarterback them because I want to load them up on the information that they're ready to go on. Yeah, because they've already got all the prompts in their character sheets. So I'm just there to like pick them up and give them some energy, and then like, hey. Give me one more little tidbit about you that I didn't put on there that you can now have as a freebie. And they're like,
are you talking about pulling them aside one at a time?
Yeah,
and just
one at a time.
Okay, that's really cool. I like that idea.
So I session 0 all of my people at cons. I like pull them aside, give them a little 2-minute talk, and then they come away with something new so that they can write in their character sheet. Somehow I'm a prince from a country that doesn't exist anymore. It's like, I'm royalty. Wow, it's amazing. Right. All of a sudden, they're like, whoa, I feel great. Yeah. So, I give them another thing that wasn't on the character sheet before. And they now they're chewing on stuff.
Yeah.
So, the con game and the home game are 2 different beasts and should never be conflated. But I will say this, as far as the preparation is concerned, I think there's more prep on the guy who's doing the con game because you're doing this for a variety of people. And in Matt's case, at least back in the day, he had a closed group of people that he had to play with because they were just such a small focus group.
Yeah, you don't know who you're going to be playing with at the table, and that's where I think I'm going to double click on it. His saying is you have to, and I fully disagree with you, Zane, on this. But you're when you were saying, this guy over here, I disagree with him. And, I disagree with a lot of people, but that's fine. But I agree with a lot of people. But when you were talking about you need to entertain, I fully just do not believe that. But con games are different. And you're probably talking about that. Now, do I need to?
I was in that case.
Yeah, in that case, you were. In my campaign game, my weekly game, that we're all get together and everybody's been vetted. If you really want to call it that way, I used to put a freaking 2-page questionnaire about seriously. Ask Eric, because I've been playing with him for 20 years. He had an application to play in my game. I know that's crazy, but I did it. One of my best buddies ever, but I don't go into a campaign game to entertain. I go there to be entertained.
I moved to be closer to my game once. Yeah. Like the campaign that I was in for like 3 years. Wow. I moved to just be closer to that family because they were all in that one little group there. And so I moved to Calabasas just to be near them. And that's how that's how I ended up in the video game business. I ended up working at Take Two and then THQ just up the street.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well, and now since you put up the sword and pointed it at me. I mean, what we just talked about, and what Dimitri talked about, and what Matt talked about was, you've got to bring the energy, you've got to do all those things, and you were agreeing with all that,
entertainment,
right? Yeah, right. That's what I meant, right? I'm entertaining them because I'm not just sitting there going, okay, there's a west door and an east door.
And that's a con. I mean, I mean, you know what I'm trying to say, because you'll get those groups that'll sit down at the table and it's like, entertain me. you know what I mean, but not put any effort towards it. And you know what I mean? You know what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah. So we agree
there's-
actually.
Yeah, no, we
very
fully
much.
agree, but I it's all shock value. I disagree with this fucker.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Hell
Well, you get more people. Oh, how many people are watching now? Did it go up? Did it go up?
Always.
No, but you know what I'm trying to get at. What happened? I didn't bring that up. That was weird. But anyways, what a great comment. Entertainment Friday. Yeah, I just I don't know, because it is a stigma in a stigma. I don't know, a myth. I try to myth bust this because I don't feel that a DM needs to do backflips and this and that. Yes, come in with energy. Yes, come in with a tone. Yes, get your players engaged. Another thing I have on here with my campaign is everybody's got a role. There's somebody that's a mapper. There's somebody that's a caller. There's somebody that's the freaking keeps track of all the treasure. There's somebody that
game.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean by that? That's another way to really get your players engaged. Yeah. The guy that's keeping track of the torches. You know what I mean? Like, if you got a player, a group of 6, and it's hard to do online, but when I'll sit here in my house, in my garage, at this table right here, and every Wednesday night, everybody come over, there was a mapper. There was a caller in the group. There was a dude that, you know what I mean? That's also, that's engagement. You know what I mean? You can do that at cons too. Like, who's going to map? You know what I mean? Like, that's and you'll be surprised. Players will lean right into that. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's pretty cool.
It's a great way to take pressure off you. You're just in your own little mini game. I love to sit there and draw when I'm not when I'm just listening to the DM describe stuff. I'll just sit there and draw, and I'm terrible at art, but I will just draw stuff because I want to take my the critique. Like, my mind is going to critique stuff that the DM is saying. So in order to shut that voice up, I need to engage myself in something else so that I'm not engaged at that super level. I want to be dumb enough as a player, but not supra intelligent as somebody who is like, oh, this guy's design is all bad. I hate that when I do that because I overanalyze things, and that ruins my enjoyment, and that ruins everybody else's enjoyment. So I will take myself out of it temporarily by just doing some sketches. Poor sketches.
Look at this. Look at this comment right here. The entertainment provided by the GM is the world to play in. I love that comment right there. Yeah. Goom Bailier. Yeah, I don't. You know me.
It's Goombalier.
Goombalier.
We know him. We probably all met him. He was at North Texas.
Probably.
How you doing, man?
Dude, that's a great comment, and I stand by that comment. You provide them a great world, they're gonna the entertainment's that's the entertainment.
That's like
I said, how they react to things and the consequences involved in everybody's decision pressure. You know what I mean? Like
DM drops the hook and sets the scenario, and they build off of it.
Yeah, super good. The other thing, like, let's say mid-game. Let's move to. I feel like a lot of that was pre-game. You know what I mean? A lot of that was going into the game, right? Like setting the expectations and stuff like that. Yeah. One thing that I like to do, and I don't know if I'm talking too much, slap me, you guys. But what I like to do too, like in combat. Yeah, I know. In combat, I like to have the players describe their crit if you use crit. Describe what happens. You know what I mean? Like describe. You know what I mean? Like that's where the role playing comes in on a more kind of a combat level. If you can,
that kind of stuff started happening around the Fate, and what's the other one? Savage Worlds. Where it was like, we have a cinematic system now. It's like, all systems are cinematic, dumbass.
Yeah, they all can be.
100%. So don't say it's just you invented cinematic. You did not invent cinematic. All right. It's
we used to do that in the early 80s.
System where it's following the character around. Yeah, I could tell you about how to rig a camera up, for crying out loud.
Yeah.
I wouldn't well, maybe they did try to claim that it was theirs, but I liked their call out to that, because it did help you kind of go,
put it in everybody's mind.
yeah, let's run with that specifically, because a movie is a great reference for doing all of our stuff. So I appreciated it, but I agree.
But at the same time, it's like, okay, and this goes back to prep again, but like if you're running a con game, like the title of your game is going to make or break you. If you have some, kind of randomish title, it's not going to get you anything. But if you say, Big Trouble in Little Blank, people exactly know what they're going to get. They're like, oh, I can be like a Kirk Douglas guy or a Kurt Russell guy, where I'm going to punch demons and shoot stuff and throw knives and go, it's all in the reflexes, baby. So it's like, if you put that in the title, you're going to get those guys. But if you have a wishy-washy title like the ones that I come up with, no one's going to know what to expect.
Yeah, along the lines of what, Angelo, you said about describe your crit. If a player comes up with an idea and it sounds a little crazy, sounds a little off, I'll sell me on that idea. How are you going to do it? The better you sell me on the ability to do this task, the better chance you're going to have. Sell me on it.
Yeah.
So
and that's a total lean in from the person too. That's a total, yeah.
I'm not as big a fan.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, I'm not as big a fan of the describe your crit or describe well, maybe crit is cool, but you killed the guy, describe it. I'm kind of like, okay, we kill a lot of guys. Like how many different ways? Okay, I split him down the middle. Is that good? Is everybody cool with that?
How many heads do you actually take off?
Well,
but I like, maybe if it's just, one very specific thing or this special moment they've been working so hard at, and when they finally do it, everyone's clapping. Okay, now the grand moment. And what's your one-liner, right? As you chop his head off or whatever you do.
So I'll give you an example of ACON. I was running a game, one of the games I was running, Ignatius's daughter was playing it and had a duel with this drow queen, or not queen, but a priestess. And they were one-on-one, rapier against rapier. It was fun, and she critted her and killed her. And everybody cheered. And at that moment, I took the opportunity. Well, what happened? And she described it, and you know what I mean. And that was, everybody was cheering and having a great time and clapping.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Totally.
And so that just that little extra nudge. Dude, that was awesome! Oh my god, I can't believe you did that. And what and I slipped it in somehow, like what happened or something. And she just like got all into it, and so. Yeah. Those are great moments. And I think, but asking for like after every hit, that would be monotonous and ridiculous. That's my kind of example of describing that. And crits don't happen all the time too. Like, unless you.
Yeah, that's why I kind of corrected myself. I was like, oh yeah, crits, that's kind of more rare. So yeah, I could see that. So I kind of like that idea. But at the same time, I also like describing that stuff too as the DM, right? Yeah. Like, especially if it plays well into what's been going on. If I can make it so that the blood splashes on the thing that they've been trying to get their hands on forever, and then all of a sudden that's kind of has an interesting impact at the moment.
Yeah. I mean, it's you got to read the situation, but I mean, those are kind of some tools that you can use, I guess. You know what I mean? It really, it's like if it's meaningful, like you're saying, for some situation like that, I mean, then you would take that and take that opportunity to describe it that way. But descriptions, I mean, people like to hear, like to get involved. At least in my experience, people like to get involved in the what happened, be a part of in the what happened, and I think that's kind of the umbrella what I'm kind of talking about.
Yeah, like on the descriptions, use all 5 senses. What do things smell like? What do they look like?
Yeah,
you might be able to feel how something is, and the more descriptive you can be, the more you can draw them into it.
Yeah, Yeah. It's funny. I talked about this before too, but when instead of a stale room, a stale room in front of you, there's nothing there. Well, describe what it smells. What you see? What the what I mean? Like, not just a 10 by 10, whatever. The doors on the other side. What do you actually see? What do you smell? What does it feel like when you go in there? You know what I mean? Those are things that players really lean into, and
that's something that I don't do very well. Like that's something because okay, so one of my problems is that I'm often running with 7 people. I run at a local game shop, and there's an awful lot of people that want to play, and so I'm constantly full, and so I'm also in this mindset of I don't want to bore anybody. I got to keep this thing rolling. So sometimes I totally forget to it doesn't even enter my mind to give a detailed description of what it smells like and what the monster looks like. And things like
happens I'm just
to me
like, too.
On to the next, because we got 7 people that got to roll. And that one turn takes 15 minutes. Like that's a problem. We got to shorten this stuff down. So I have a little trouble balancing that well. Like I wish that I could keep it in my head more to be able to just say like the half sentence that that's because that's really all you need, right? It's just like it smells like urine, okay, done. Like you don't have to sit there and describe any more than that. And
that's perfect. Yeah.
Right. But I'll be in that hurry up mode so much that I even forget to do that sort of thing. So I don't know how to get myself to remember to do that. I haven't figured it out yet.
Yeah. When I write a room or something or a situation, I always try to put one sensory piece, sensory. And Matt kind of, added on to that. But smell is a perfect one to start with. Smell or,
right.
Feel could be temperature in the room.
Temperature is another thing.
Well, I mean, the sound,
moisture,
sounds. Gary was incredibly in tune to sound. One of the things that you'll see in a lot of his modules is you'll know what it sounds like in the room before anything else, and that's what's so amazing about it is that like in D1 there's an encounter where you meet a couple of dodgy people.
Sure.
And, it's a man and a woman, and you'll hear the chirping of birds. And you come into this room, and there's this woman, this naked woman, and she's sniffing a rose, and she's by this grotto, and there's all these little sparrows chirping it, right? Now, I'm not going to spoil this for you guys, but it's not what it seems to be.
Yeah.
And that's what's so amazing about it is that the first thing that you hear is the chirping of the birds. And then you see this statuesque woman bathing by this pool, and she invites you to come over and talk with her. So I imagine that back in the 70s, that was rather compelling.
Yeah.
The chirping of the birds ends up being chirping of something else. But that's what's so awesome about it. There's an audio cue there.
Yeah. Yeah, going through the last session, going through the forest, and all of a sudden everything gets quiet. Quiet is also another sensory, that you can use.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
I
just got to remember to do it. That's my issue is
Yeah.
I just don't remember. I get it wrapped up in everything that's going on, keeping track of everybody's abilities and everything else. And the next thing I know, I've finished the game and I go, oh shit, I didn't say a thing about what that place smelled like or what that place sounded like or any of that stuff. I don't know. I need an alarm to go off every so often. It goes, hey, remember to say the thing.
Yeah, I try to picture. I try to put my in. Yeah, it's tough. That's tough, dude. I think it's practice. It's just getting in that habit. I try to. It's easy for me to say this now, but in the heat of the game, we forget a lot of crap. You forget all kinds of stuff, and I even like go to bed thinking about, oh man, okay, I remember this. It all goes out the window when you're actually in it.
What exactly do you forget? Because that means a lot, actually.
For me,
him or me?
Yeah.
For me, I mean, I'm right there with Zane. I'll forget to give a sensory. Yeah, I try to, like probably about 50%. But I think that's super important. But you know what's interesting in my campaign game? The players are so used to it, they'll ask me. Does that make sense?
Right.
That's
right.
the difference between the
For
con
clues,
game.
they know you give useful clues. Yeah.
Sounds like you have some engaged players.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
You might know a thing or two about this.
But
you might know a thing or two about this.
I always get these
Fade to black.
I always get
Show's over.
like,
Bye, everybody.
What's the weather like right now? Yeah. Engaged player. Yeah, that's an interesting thing. Yeah, like that's one thing that I forget to do some. I mean, I'm right there with you guys, you know. Yeah, I mean, you get wrapped up, and then sometimes I find that I'm wrapped up in the in the story and what they're doing, and I might forget. Oh crap! I forgot around this corner there was supposed to be this. You know what I mean? And because you guys, I don't plan crap.
All right, I've got a topic.
Please.
Okay, everybody at their table. There's always one person who is always dominant, who's always the loudest, always tried to get in every word edgewise.
Yep.
How do you quell that person a little bit and try to bring up the quiet ones?
Well, I have an answer for that, and
you kill the loud ones, right?
What's that?
You kill them off, right?
I just say
so useful.
No. I mean, no. That's the thing that I ran into a lot of times over the years, and con games I don't get. Con games are a different ball game for me. Totally different. I'm a campaign player. You know what I mean? And I will try to and I've done this in that. Okay, cool. It's X's turn to talk here. You know, I might say that in a subtle sort of way, and if it becomes an issue, I am I'm an advocate of you got to protect the table. You know what I mean? Because that could rub off really wrong on other players. And what is the DM's real job? It's to have another game, right? And to protect your table. So I'll talk, and I've done it many, many times, like talk to people. You just got to be like, I'm a talker. So I just got to talk to them. You got to say like, look, dude, like you got to get other people chances. And there's the people that you can't talk to because it's just ingrained in them. Right. You know what I mean? It's just the excitement level is there. Like, dude, like I get it. I totally get it, you know, and I love that.
When you mean talk to them, are you saying
as a DM, you can always shift focuses. It's hard online. It's hard online. Like even here, like if we were all sitting at a table with a camera on all four of us, we'd probably, if somebody would be pinching the other person and, that kind of stuff, nudging. But yeah, it's
when you say talk to are you talking about talking to the ones that don't talk very much? Or are you talking about pulling aside the person?
Pulling aside the person.
Much? Yeah, right.
And you have to do that.
Office.
But let me tell you this: the guys and gals that I play with, they're all friends. I can do that. Do you know what I mean? Now people have gotten buttered in the past, but yeah.
I think it's always a gamble.
Of course, it's a gamble.
It's always a gamble. Well, of course you like a gamble. You know why? Because you're not a very good gambler. But I'll tell you this: that there's too much investment on a campaign, a home campaign game, and sometimes people are just going to get mad. And so, I just take away all of the toys and just go, oh, all you want to do is kill stuff. Okay, well, your guy gets to kill stuff. Everybody else gets the information. I hand them notes, and Killy Boy just gets to kill stuff.
And I've seen you do that too.
Yeah, so Killy Boy gets to do what he wants. He let the baby have his way, obviously, because if so-and-so goes, he's the ride of this person, and he's best friends with that person. If so-and-so goes, he takes all three of these people out of your party, and now you're going back to the classifieds, trying to find another party. And you know what? You want to be a bitch, you get bitch style.
Yeah.
Okay. But here's the thing. Okay. And I have a legit anecdote to relate here. Chaosium Con 2 years ago, it was 2024. I finally solidified my BioShock basic role-playing game, and I had this magic system down that was all based on the plasmids and stuff like that, and it was like a genetic. It's an amazing system. You can continue to combine powers to make new powers, and there's like a chance of failure, but you can still succeed, because even if a failure happens, it's just a hot round that goes off and kind of hurts everybody. But it's okay, because there's vending machines everywhere that you can buy more powers from. So everybody at the table were weird. There were 3 guys from Iceland, from Reykjavik, who never really played a role-playing game before. There was a kid who just wanted to kill stuff and ruin my game. He actually came up to me afterwards and said, I was just there to try to destroy your game. And there was this other older older guy who, after he had left the table, he told me, he found me in the bar and he said, I'm sorry, I was jet lagged. I was disoriented. I didn't have my meds with me, this, that, and the other. And so I was just not enjoying it. That's why I left early. So a long story short, what happened is I gave all these guys these incredibly powerful characters, superhero level characters. And I gave them a mission, and I gave them this backstory, and then I put them in this New Orleans kind of world inside of Rapture, which is BioShock, the video game. And that they had this whole mystery to unravel. So about halfway through, the old guy says to me, he looks at me dead in the eye, and he says, I don't know what to do. Tell me what to do. My character sheet says nothing about what I'm supposed to do. And I point to this over here and I go, well, actually, here are your orders right here in very detailed thing. If I could bring you aside if you want, and we can talk about it. And he's like, well, it's not very clear to me. And I said, okay, well, that's my fault. I probably should have brought you aside. And that's why I do this session 0 now with all my con games.
Right.
But
that's cool.
He just would not listen to reason, and he left the game. And I said, that's fine. All of a sudden now the game starts going at this accelerated pace. The kid who wants to just kill everything, he's got the sniper character. So I just keep giving him targets, and he just keeps knocking them down. While the other 3 guys from Iceland are starting to put their brains together. The one guy who's this, like, I guess he's like a prize-winning psychoanalyst. He figures it out. He puts the powers together, and he makes all this magic stuff happen, and he solves the mystery. And afterwards at the bar, they find me. All these guys find me, and they're all like, that was amazing. We had this incredible time, but it took us a long time to get it. And I was like, that was my fault. I should have given you a lot more coaching on this, because it's still in the skeletal phase. That was my fault. But what you guys did was incredible, because you stuck with it and you were able to surmount the challenge. And
solve it.
Play test this to the end.
Yeah.
And so, and as a result, they probably felt even more accomplished, because you didn't give them all that preamble. So they had to figure it out completely on their own, which is a different type of engagement, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And then the older fellow who left, he got in contact with the community manager, and he said, I want to apologize to that guy. I did not want him to feel bad about me walking off his table. I had jet lag, and I had this, that, and the other, and he put that in there. And so I was like, wow, I felt vindicated in that respect as well. But I still felt bad, because it's like, I should never lose a player to that. Right. I should never lose a player to me not giving them the proper preparation, so that they don't feel like they have anything to do.
Yeah. That's great, Dimitri. That's super cool.
That actually kind of brings up the point of whose responsibility is it for the players to get engaged.
It's me. It's always me.
Right. So is it us, or is it a teamwork effort?
Yeah.
I feel a little bit like it's a teamwork effort. We do have to give them the necessary pieces, but from there, they get to decide whether they're engaging or they're disengaged.
Have you ever GM'd at Gen Con?
No, I have played at Gen Con, but I've never GM'd.
GMing at Gen Con is like, you got to bring everything to the table, including the energy and the investment, because these people are paying top dollar to be there, and they're expecting you to be like a Broadway show.
Right.
So, yeah. Take it for what you will.
Well, I look for it. I'm going to run it. Yeah, we've been talking about going next year. Finally, we haven't gone in like 3 years or something, and so I always like to run it at shows. So I'm probably going to be running some games there. So I will take that little piece of advice with me.
Yeah. Well, I've never played.
Excuses.
I was going to say, Zane, I've never played it, and I missed the opportunity at AidCon to play in one of your games because I was double booked. But I've seen you run games, and you do a great job. I've watched everybody was kind of into it, and that's the sign when everybody's there, not just on their phones or you know. I mean, that's you gotta
they are. They're definitely doing that, and you know, I think back to games where a couple of players, you know, I describe something about how their character is suffering from whatever it is. And the next thing you know, they're acting out crying and they're like hugging each other and crying over this miserable thing that's going on. It's like, oh yeah, that's it. That is so cool.
Yeah, you know, Matt, the question that you asked, like, you know, I don't know. Do any of you guys have any other answers for that? Because that's, you know, I gave my 30-minute spiel on it. You know, it's always, you know, for me, it's just communication is the best. You know, the thing about D&D is this, okay, or just gaming is this. We have one thing wrong with it, right? Or bad or good about it. Well, you know, one thing that's wrong, or could be bad. Humans are involved, right? So that it doesn't necessarily have to be a bad thing, but you know, everybody's got a different personality. So you have personalities, and you have ways that people do things, and you have ways, you know, you have the rules lawyer, you have the dude that won't shut up, you have the dude that won't talk, you have the dude that, you know, sits on his head instead of sitting up on a chair normal, you know, that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's just a situational thing. My whole thing is, I think it's communication is the best, you know, but you can use tools to where you're like, okay, 1 second, let me see what Fred's doing. You know what I mean? You can always do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
people
you definitely give the other players who might be quieter the opportunity to have the spotlight.
Oh yeah.
And if you know, sometimes they'll take it and go with it, sometimes they won't. But at minimum, if you give them the opportunity to have the spotlight and
don't come to my table if you're quiet. You're going to be called on every time. Yeah, no, not really.
No, I mean, that's the correct answer. It's like, oh, you're not engaged. Let's find a way to make you more engaged.
Yeah.
Let's make you the project.
Yeah. What do you do? You know, like that. Yeah. So, yeah, good stuff. Yeah. Do you guys have any other kind of tips or tools? I kind of went through, get around the room, and yeah, you know, another kind of thing to engagement is I try not to focus on one person, and I do go and say, well, what do you do? What do you do? What do you? And I think we all do this. You know what I mean? Kind of go around the room, you know, and take turns and starting at different places in the room too, not just starting on my left. You know,
like with initiative. You know,
well, with anything,
you might start that
what's
die
your
roll
reaction to it?
Person on the right, and then work your way around the table and get everybody involved.
Yeah.
I mean, just give out experience points for it, man. It's just like what Shane said about, you know, throw out bennies, throw out experience points, throw out whatever
I like
motivates.
That. Yeah.
You know, it's like, hey, listen, the squeaky wheel's gonna get the grease, so chirp up.
Yeah. But then,
you know,
if you ever
I just came up
please.
with another idea, sort of based on what you guys were just saying. Is okay. So you have the very demonstrative player who kind of doesn't shut up, right? So you might say to that one something like, you'll get a luck token every time you get one of the other players to engage. right? Like you could even try some. I mean, there's probably a better way to say it, right? It just popped into my mind, but
That's
to give
amazing.
them even an incentive to get others involved. Now all of a sudden they're excited when the rest of the party is engaged in the same way. You know, that then you I would think you'd really win, because they're going to figure that out and they're going to celebrate when somebody does something instead of just trying to hog it all for themselves.
That is
it's a
interesting
recruitment program.
That is
Sounds like a
ingenious.
leadership program at work.
Yeah. No,
Oh,
that is ingenious. I don't use luck tokens, but I mean that would work for systems that you're running. But
you never did outward bound. Did you?
Let me say this. That would be awesome. Hey, we'll get you engaged in a minute, buddy. That
You're
would
being
be
a little
amazing
loud,
if
Dimitri.
you bring that loudmouth to the side and you say, dude, if you get every time you get all these quiet people involved in it, I'll give you 100 XP. Something like that. Yeah. I'm gonna do that.
I think that there's a good chance that then all of a sudden they shift their approach a little bit, and that's all you need.
Yeah. It's finesse. Yeah. What were you going to say? Well, let's get Dimitri engaged in this conversation.
I was just being a smartass. I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I should have. I should have known that was coming. We have to have a talk.
I don't recognize that. That never happens at my table.
Yeah.
Well, I do have one point left on my note sheet, and then I'm done.
Yeah.
And this is prep again, but it's about what are we playing? Are we playing rules as written? Are we playing simulationist? Are we playing pulp? Are we playing gonzo? What are we doing? Why are we here? What is the flavor of this game do you want to play? And if it's a game like Paranoia, we already know we're going crazy, but if it's a game where we really don't know, like, Delta Green or something like that, you might want to play simulationist, super simulationist. But I'm like, if I'm playing super simulationist and there's a guy with like seriously Omega PK level 5 on the other side of the planet, he can just explode your head just thinking about you. So know which version of the game we're playing and how strict we're going to play by the rules.
There's some funny comments in here.
What?
Somebody said, "What is Gonzo?" and everybody went down the Muppets route.
Of course. Of course.
It's funny. Chris is Chris. I run a game and Chris Clark's in it, and amazing player. I mean, absolute genius player. And it's funny because he's like, don't pick on the guy that won't shut up. So he's thinking we're talking about him. It's funny. I do. Chris has got he's very, what's the word? I don't know. Type A, I guess. Very like, let's do that. I don't know what the type, but Chris is Chris. And I know he's listening, and he knows I'm talking about him. I'll give him a look in the game, and then he'll mute himself. So great. But he does a really good job getting others involved too. Like, what is the Rangers? Looking at the, that kind of stuff. So, it's fun. It's fun when you get a good group of like people that know each other, and people like con games are tough in that aspect. And that's where I really do lean on what you were saying about being, let's go team. You got to be that cheerleader almost sometimes. And
and it's a lot of pressure. It's a lot of pressure.
Yeah. Have you guys been running con games for a while? I know you have, Denisha, and I have. Zane, are you kind of newer-ish?
I'm kind of newer-ish to it, but I often get the comment, and this is not even a humble brag; it's a brag, where people will come up to me afterwards and go, "That was the best game of the con for me," and so
that's awesome.
I go, okay, then I must be doing something right-ish, and I'll continue to try to do that.
I got that comment for a game at North Texas I ran, a Boot Hill game, and I got that from a comment from EggCon, my Temple of Grumps game, the one I described, and that was awesome. That's an awesome, right. That's what we strive for. kinda. To just have a freaking amazing time. And that's like the best feeling when somebody comes to, dude, that was the best game I was in. I'm like, I had a great time too. You know, and that's so cool.
And sometimes it's not because of me, right? Like, I mean, maybe because I set up the environment so that everybody could be wacky and 100%. Crazy and wild and all 100%. That. And so what they're commenting on is there are other player partners, you know, that because they were so over the top and they got into their characters so well, then all of a sudden that's what made it great. And I think
I've never had that comment.
What I bring to the table.
I've never had that comment from an individual or whatever that I actually didn't agree with them, because like the players were freaking off the hook. You know what I mean? And you know, and I'm just me. You know what I mean? But just seeing like everybody leaning into the table and really just going for it and just into every single move, every single decision, not just, you know, doom scrolling, you know, White Monster and Goth Girls, you know, on your phone the whole time. Yeah, I mean that's such an awesome thing. Yeah, it's the players, it's not the DM. It's if you get them involved, they run the game. I'll sit back. Whoa. Yeah, amazing stuff.
Yeah, that's one growth for me as a DM. I haven't run any games at a con. I've only been going to cons for like 2 or 3 years now. So I wanted to go in and play because I was the forever DM in all my local groups. So now I've done that. I've experienced a lot of new games and different DMs. So next North Texas probably is where I'm going to start running games. I mean, I've run one shots at my local game store and such. Yeah. So not too much different than that, but a little bit. But
you're gonna do that in North Texas?
I'm gonna, yeah.
Dude, I'll be there.
Okay.
I love the game with you, for sure. Since I just found out we played in a Alan Hammock Boot Hill game in 2024. Exactly. Yeah.
You were just in awe of Alan, and you just lost all.
I know.
Alan.
Yeah, all four.
Sign my Inverness.
Yeah. All four of us were at North Texas. What a great con that is.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to being back there.
Yeah, that was our first time going. We definitely enjoyed it. It was a smaller, because our favorite up until then was Gary Con, just because of the networking fun and the meeting all these cool people at night. Everybody goes to the same place and everybody drinks at the bar and everything. So, you know, there's some cons where you're like, where'd everybody go? It's evening. Like, aren't we supposed to drink and have some fun and meet each other? But I, you know, North Texas was cool. It was like a mini Gary Con for us.
Nice.
Yeah. There's a great question here from Advanced Fantasy Games. I'm going to bring that up.
That guy.
Yeah. I have a question. How do you guys feel about a knowledgeable player tries to challenge a ruling diplomatically and professionally? Have you ever felt threatened at the table as a DM? How do you handle? Yeah, I would say
I definitely never felt threatened, not at all.
Yeah.
Like, you know, okay, cool. You know, especially if they do it the way that he described it. What was it? Like professionally,
diplomatically and professionally. Yeah.
That's awesome. Okay, go for it.
Sell me on the idea. Change my mind.
Right. And it went because I run Shadow Dark. The book itself says rulings over rules.
Yeah.
So I can just go, okay, cool. Thank you. Maybe I should have done it that way, but this is the way I'm doing it. So, you know, here we go.
Yeah. I think for me, I welcome that. You know, now what I don't welcome is arguing about stuff. Because if I do make a ruling as a DM, and I try to be very fair, okay, let's take 2 seconds to really look it up. Okay. Yeah. Slow does work this way. My bad. Okay. Let's play it that way. Boom. Let's keep going. You know, you don't want to stop a game.
No.
Lose all the tone, lose all the focus. Everybody else is now looking at their phones, or, take the moment out, just everything that was created up to that point and argue about a ruling. That's why, hey, let's make a ruling real quick or find it in 2 seconds and move on. And then we'll figure it out at break or something like that. I'm the first one to say, my bad. Yeah, I was wrong. But when you start arguing, and I had it happen at a con earlier this year, and I fucking lost it. Yeah.
So I just
my
go back
bad
to
on that side, but yeah.
I go back to the wargaming thing because I also do wargaming. I do a lot of tactical. I do a lot of skirmish. I do a lot of, I was a tournament 40K player, tournament X-Wing miniatures player. The thing is, like, if something is like has not been playing correctly, and then somebody says, hey, by the way, this ruling is not going, you're using this ruling the wrong way. I'll go, well, we can't retcon what already happened, but can we continue to play it? Like, whatever it is, what's the most consistent way to do it? And if we get into a huge tiff about this, I'll just be like, all right, coin flip, my ruling, heads I win, tails you win, okay? And we go by the coin flip because, like, that's the way we did it in 40K, because it was a timed match and we didn't have time to argue about it. We call a referee over and he'll take like 20 minutes figuring it out. So we would just go gentleman's thing, heads or tails, whoever wins, that's how we play it.
Yeah. That's
a cool way to do it. That's neat. I've never come to that sort of situation, but I like that.
Well, I forget rules all the time when I'm running because I'm just like,
oh yeah,
I'm just blasting through because I want people to get into the story and stuff like that. And then I forget about the rules, and then someone's like, hey, you forgot this, and I'm like, yeah, I did.
Well, so, your job as a referee, because I do like using that term, is to adjudicate what you think that is if you don't know, right? And the player's job is to, okay, if it's wrong and they know it, bring it up. I like somebody said the 1 minute rule. Bring it up really quick. Don't challenge in the fact of like, F you. You're wrong, because that's not going to go well with me. I'm Italian too. You know what I mean? Like, but
you will lose.
A real quick discussion is awesome because I love those. We have a phrase in my campaign game that is stop the game, and everybody grabs their books, and we're all good with it, and we love it, and that's fine. But to go on and it's our job to make a ruling, but it's also the player's job to be okay with that ruling, move forward during the break, talk about it. And then what I do is I have a paper that I write down of rulings that, and so I remember them, because writing down for me is a way of internalizing, you know what I mean? So, yeah. But I mean, that's just table etiquette, that's game etiquette, that's, all that.
Yeah. So for me, that's the question between, are we telling a great story or are we trying to win a game?
Exactly.
Right. Yeah. I think we're trying to tell a great story. And if the great story means that your character dies on the way, then that's what's going to happen. And that's going to tell a great story. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree with you there. Not a couple months ago, 8th level cleric died. 5th level, there was the wrong turn. Is all that happened. And I'm not going to fudge the dice rolls. And it was in my in the dungeon, the 1-page dungeon. Don't go down this way. Don't jump into the globe of invulnerability in the mouth of the creature that's there. And you know what I mean? Like I'm not going to pull back. Yeah, that's the story, and that became the story, and everybody accepted it. Yeah.
Yeah, just a month ago, my campaign, it was in Greyhawk, and I had 6 players, all 5th and 6th level characters, TPK'd, just like that. And it was a year and a half into this campaign, and I mean, it shouldn't have happened. They were just fighting some ghouls. But the clerics only turned like 1 or 2 at a time.
Yeah.
And their die rolls were all bad. But yeah, definitely made memories from it.
Yeah, that's the greatest example of the dice just telling the story. You know what I mean? The dice just yeah. Hand raise. That was me. Yeah, Chris, that was you that died. Yep. And I will say, I'm just gonna, because I love Chris to death, but he tried to get out of that for several weeks.
My favorite die roll telling a story is just simply I was playing like a paladin, and there was water, and I was trying to look in the water to see how deep it was. And he said, okay, make your wisdom check. And so I did that, and I got a nat 1. And he said, oh, it's very shallow. So I was like, okay, and just walked in the water. Boom, I was underneath the water. I was laughing so hard. The whole party had to stop whatever they were doing and try to freaking rescue me. I was laughing so hard I was crying. It was like the greatest thing ever.
Yeah, this particular scenario was a rescue mission that turned into a bigger rescue that was unrescuable. Yeah. So yeah, one of those situations. We are coming up on the 2-hour mark. Does anybody have anything else on their list that you guys want to bring out? What a great discussion this has been, man.
Really has.
Yeah, this is fun stuff. I love this. Yeah, I know. I don't know everybody in the chat whether. Yeah, well, I'll ask for feedback about not having the chat up on the side over there. Just trying something different. Trying to be more or less engaged. I don't know what the word is. I'm still looking at the chat every 5 seconds. So
yeah.
So you guys know me. I squirrel. So. Yeah,
you can get distracted. Yeah, we can get distracted by the chat sometimes. It is hard. Like you're sitting there doing, bringing up text on the screen of what people are saying in the chat, and also trying to listen to us at the same time.
Yeah, it's tough.
I'm not very good at that. Once I start reading something, everything's tuned out, and once I'm talking or listening to someone, then all my vision is tuned out too. Like I have trouble multitasking like that. So that's good. So I'm going to have to double click on your ability to do that. Angelo.
This whole thing's been a super learning experience for me, and I don't know whether I'm getting better at the keeping track of what's going on in the chat and being engaged, but yeah, it's tough, especially for a guy like me. I'm definitely all up in it. So yeah, man, this was really fun conversation. This was Ignatius and I had this idea maybe 3 months ago. He couldn't make it, by the way. He was traveling this, but he's essentially my co-host on the DM's roundtable. And thanks, Matt, for taking the call of jumping on. I really appreciate that. But yeah, I just I love just talking with other DMs, and that's like a fun thing to do. Is go to cons, guys, if you haven't, which I know most of us have. Go to cons and watch how other DMs do. That's where I picked up everything that I is watching. You don't become awesome on your own. You become awesome with everybody else's experiences. And watching old Zane there at the table running his game, and everybody leaning in, and watching freaking Dimitri, no joke, do a freaking stage dive off the table, drunk out of his mind, running a Gonzo game. Yeah, this guy. But anyways, yeah, good stuff.
I was gonna say Merlin Sturgandildor wrote again about that, and he just made a little note about how I ruled 2 nat 1s simultaneously to bring the result that it brought. And that's because of that situation where I was the paladin and I rolled the nat 1 and I fell in the water, and I just went, oh, I've got to use that myself. Like I have to bring that. Anytime somebody rolls a nat 1, I need it to be that everyone's laughing at the table. Like that's so critical.
Those are great. Those are great icebreaker type of moments that you should lean into as a DM. Like, wow, okay, everybody's, this is a great opportunity, to capitalize on this moment. I hate to say it, somebody's failure. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. And so in this scenario, I said that they both thought that the other one screwed it up. They both felt like it was the other one's fault, and so that's why they started bickering over it.
Yeah, yeah. I always talk about this moment right here, Zane. I had and rest in peace, Eric Coe. I was running them through Q1, and he was a cleric. He had a mace of St. Cuthbert and actually crit Lolth in combat. And this guy almost like literally the whole table erupted. Because this was like a 4-year campaign that ended up in this moment right here, and he crit the Loth, and they all still died, because he got magic resistant. but just that moment, dude, it was so class. We have pictures of it, and it was just those moments, man, is what, man,
it's what
it's
it's all
moments
about.
like that, and hanging with your buddies, just the freaking amazing, and then the moments of just the smelling of the
alone in your
books.
room smelling your books.
Well, I mean,
Okay,
that's why I love D&D. I love it because of the moments. You know what I mean? That's what I love. So good stuff. Man.
Awesome.
Well, yeah, in closing, let's get out of here in a couple minutes. I want to give you guys opportunity to kind of say your parting words goodbye. I guess the next real question I have for everybody is, where is everybody going to be at con-wise? I'll be, and I'll start, I usually do, in Labor Day weekend. I will be at Strategicon. I will be there Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, meeting up with a bunch of friends, Saturday and Sunday, running Boot Hill. I don't have anything planned Saturday, but Boot Hill, I got 2 sessions I'm running. Hopefully we'll do some side games in D&D, nothing on the books. I'll be doing some live streams from there too. Anna Meyer will be joining me on one of them live. I don't know how we're going to do it. 2 microphones, at the con like I've done before. Yeah, that's in LA. And then I'm trying to think. September 11th. The next is when tickets. For Greyhawk Virtual Con that Lord Gasumba has been doing for now 7 years. Is I think the what do they call it when they open up the events? I think it's on the 7th.
Pre-registration.
Yes.
Is it pre-registration?
Sure.
Is that the right term?
Game
registration. There you go. Yeah, that's going to open up on the 7th, and I'm running a Greyhawk game. I believe the dates. It's a Friday on this October. During that con. So, what about you guys? What do you guys got coming up? And I will be live streaming that game, by the way. I have no idea how I'm going to do it, but I'm going to do it. All right.
So we're going to Gamehole Con for our first time. We're very, very late adds to that, but they were able to get us in and get us as special guests. And I'm running a whole bunch of sessions of Super Dark. And we also do a weekly game every Monday night that you can stream, you can watch on the Dungeon Damsel channel, where I'm running Droskara with a group of 5, and that's always fun. They're very entertaining players. And then I'm playing, since you mentioned Gasumba, I'm playing on his channel. Boy, I don't remember the date. It's in September, but I'm playing a Champions game there.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, so that's really cool. And I could talk about Champions for a long time, but I'll do a real quick summary of it. As a video game producer, I made all the new designers that we hired read the Champions rulebook, and they also had to create a character with it, with all the rules and everything, so that they could learn real gameplay sort of stuff, because you can do anything you want with that, right? And so if you can use that to help your programmers create your ideas, then that you're going to make their lives so much easier. So
we need to talk afterwards, because I mean, Champions taught me a lot about computer programming.
Yeah, we should have you back on here and talking about Champions. That was a great game, dude. Yeah.
And it's funny because I actually never played it. All I did is I read the rules and I made characters. And so from that, I made all my designers do that, right, for the video game industry. So I had my very first opportunity to actually play Champions with Curtis, which is Lord Gasumba's friend who runs it. Yeah. And at GaryCon, and I enjoyed it. And so he's having me back to do my character again. Cool. So I'm excited about that too.
Oh, that's awesome, dude. Yeah. You played a lot of Champions, Dimitri, didn't you?
Dude, it was one of the transformative periods of my life. Learning how to play Champions in 7th and 8th grade. It changed the game for me.
Yeah. Good stuff. Good stuff. Good stuff. Well, that's a cool recap, Zane. Yeah. So Gamehole Con. I want to try. I have never been. I want to. This year's not happening, but yeah, next year I might show up, check it out.
Yeah, I think that's the only one we have this year, and then we'll be at Page next year.
Yeah.
I think that's the
we'll
next
be at
one
Page.
after that.
Yeah. Yep. Matt, you'll be at Page too, right?
No, I'm not going to be at Page.
Oh, I thought you were.
It's not going to work out probably.
Okay.
I got at the end of September. I have ShireCon. Tom
Yes.
Wilson's. Yeah, I'm repping ShireCon shirt tonight from last year.
Yeah, baby.
Awesome.
That's right.
It's a fun time. It's a small.
Where's that one at?
Connecticut. New Canaan, Connecticut. It's small, only like 125 people. It's a half day Friday and Saturday, but it is so much fun. It's such a good family experience. October, I'm supposed to be going to WizardCon up in Michigan.
Okay.
And then I'm getting ready. I already signed up for North Texas next year, and I'm getting ready to sign up. I will be going to EggCon #4 in November next year.
Yes.
So I'm excited for that.
Nice.
That's a ways away, but man, I'm really excited about the date change on that. For me, it works out. Yeah, that's pretty awesome. And Matt, you just got all these games you're running too, and I'm
playing a bunch. Tomorrow night, I get to play with my boy Stephen Clements, basic black box D&D game.
Yes,
I don't know if he's been around tonight or not, but it's fun playing in his games. And
he's a good dude.
Good stuff.
Yeah, that's super awesome. Dimitri, what about you, buddy?
Gamehole, just getting ready for that. Gonna run my Call of Cthulhu games there. Bringing my granddaughter to that event as well. Just introduce her to the whole culture. Introduce her to all the guys, kids. They're all of that same age. They're around 15, 16. I know Luke's kids are a little older, but want to get my granddaughter immersed in the scene because she's a great creator as well. She's a great GM. She's an artist, and she's got the passion for it. And so I want her to be immersed in the scene and just see what it's like. She's not going to get the experience that me and you got, Angelo, where we were on our own for the whole weekend and there was no supervision.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that world doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
But after Gamehole, the big thing for me next year is Genghis Khan. Yeah. And I'm going to definitely prepare for that. But if anybody else wants to invite me as a special guest anywhere else, I'm available.
Yeah.
Where is Genghis Khan at?
That's Aurora, Texas.
Oh, okay. What's the time period of that? When is that?
That's early February. As a matter of fact, that's probably the President's Day weekend.
Okay.
And I don't miss that con anymore. I went there 2 years ago, and now it's just like, this is the place to be because this is where all of all the mines are at. The mines are there. It's like I go where the mines are at. So, I love StratCon, but it's just been decimated ever since the 80s. All of the RPG
it's not like it used to be.
Have fled, and like if I go to Genghis, I can talk to Lance. About freaking Morkborg and stuff like that. I got all the Gooey Cube guys there. As a matter of fact, I'm there at the Gooey Cube pre-party in Colorado Springs, hanging out with those guys and just swapping stories and figuring out what's happening. And I've never even played in a Gooey Cube game yet, but I'm an honorary part of the crew just because.
Yeah, we love those guys. They're great.
Mm-hmm.
And their energy is so amazing. I would love to be able to get them off the rail and into another system where we can do a lot more than that. But right now they're cooking so hard. I don't want to disturb what they're doing. They're doing great. But this Colorado area, man, it's kicking some serious butt. Matt Everhart's out there. Jeff Richard lives, 50 miles north in Fort Collins. Always when Genghis happens, it turns into an absolute scene, and nobody outside of Colorado knows what's going on. But, we've got these massive hitters there, and we all have like a little dinner, and we all talk about what's happening, and we all talk about our plans, and we reload, and we get ready for what we're going to do. But then we also have a con to present, so we're already fully loaded on that and firing on all cylinders there. So yeah, Genghis, I can't miss out on that for sure. And then Gary, I'm already planning to do some great stuff there. And then Chaosium Con, which I can't miss ever again. So there's that, and that's in April. And then North Texas, I can't miss that one again ever. I'm just obligated to it. And if anybody wants to pay my ride to Gen Con, yeah, I'll be there. But Gen Con otherwise, unless I know they're gonna hand me the Annie, you'll never see me there. I'm sorry, Matt Forbeck. I'll send Matt Forbeck to pick up my Annie if I get surprised.
Good stuff. Well, you guys, all right. Well, we're gonna get out of here. I do want to say thank you guys to everybody that's tuned in, and appreciate all the guests on here. What a great conversation. A little bit of plugging for the channel here. If you guys are not subscribed to the channel, to the DM and Friends, please do. And an interesting thing is we are hovering almost at 5,000 subscribers right now, which is absolutely
nice,
mind-blowing. And if you see that in back of me, as soon as we hit that, I am going to do a just kind of a thank you live stream where we celebrate, get a bunch of people on, everybody that wants to come on, and I'm gonna do a drawing for that Goodman Games box set back here. I'll send it to you. Nice. Yeah, it's been an amazing ride. Yeah, it's so the game, the community, the DM and Friends community, just the gaming community is so it's been a lot of fun, guys. So thank you guys for being here. I will say Saturday we had a kind of a special after party. Brother Anselm, who you would see in the chat, is going to be on the show, and we want to talk about some stuff. And we'll have a lot of the crew on there, but we'll also be joined by him, and he's going to talk about some pretty important things he's doing. And so I would like for you guys to be there because we need to support this guy. Awesome. The other thing too is tomorrow the video comes out on Traps, our collab with Joe Block and Eric Tenkar. So stay tuned for that. It's going to be a fun one. And another awesome HOMMLET video comes out on Saturday. And you guys will like this one because I pull some real things out of my on it. So.
I don't know if that.
I mean, I love that module, and it smells good too, by the way.
And I want to say one other thing, that if you look at your screen right now and you're watching this video, you want to look down at the bottom where it has an outline of a thumbs up, and that should be black. Mm-hmm. So please make that black for DM Angelo. Yes.
Yeah. Thanks, man.
Am I in dark mode?
Dark mode. Yeah. Hit the like button. Get on the video. Any of the videos that we have. Comments are the best way to do it. But if you're not subscribed, give me a little subscribe. This has been such a fun ride, and these are my buddies right here, man. Yeah, and that's why that's why it's called. You guys, it's called the DM and Friends. Like, it's not, I mean, first edition is the best, but
not the DM and Enemies.
It's not the DM and Enemies. Yeah,
DM and Roll Initiative.
DM and On God. Yeah. So, anyways, we're gonna get out of here, you guys. Thank you again. I'm gonna head out. I'm gonna leave us with the song, I think, and here we go.
Awesome.
Let's see if we can do this.